cats and kittens out there. This is the Ridge Outdoors, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a real simple fire starter at home. And honestly, about 6 to 8 months ago, I had this idea based off of the Mini Inferno that Dave Canterbury sells on his Self-Reliance Outfitters website. And that's, pretty much a piece of cotton covered in like a wax or some kind of polymer, and it has some kind of accelerant on the inside. And I was like, man, I could do something like that at home just with stuff I have laying around. So I did it, told my buddy about it, and he's like, yeah, I've been thinking about making something like that too. That's all over YouTube. And I was like, oh man, I thought I invented that. So my first attempt a while back was something like this. This is a cotton round that I rubbed with Vaseline, and then I dipped it in melted wax, let it dry for like 30 seconds so it was hard enough, and then I dipped it again, so it's twice dipped. It was a little hard to light, so in that aspect I didn't like it. I don't think it'll take a spark at all. I had to hold a lighter to it for probably a good 15 to 20 seconds, but it lasted for like 8 to 10 minutes. So I like the longevity of it, but it needs to be able to take a spark a little better. So I think if I do a version, I'm gonna do some normal round ones and then the little kind of pads. I'm gonna try both and see what works better. I'm gonna do it just with one dip of wax and see how that does. Hopefully I can conserve some of the fibers on the inside, and then when those take, it'll obviously just start melting the wax. So you have a couple different options on wax. What I used before on these was just the cheapest wax I could find. It was in those cubes, I think for those Scentsy candles, and it's scented, and I don't love that. It doesn't really matter, but here I have just some cheap product from Walmart, like votive kind of floating candles, the ones are. And this is like, I would call like one of the prayer candles, and these are like $1. So that's quite a bit of wax for $1, so that's pretty cool. These ones are going to be easier to actually get to. So I got this little alcohol stove started. There's another good chance to test this. It does have to heat up a little bit first to actually start coming out of the holes up here. And looks like I just blew it out. So let's try to, there we go. So it does have to heat up, so it kind of has a chance to suck up the alcohol fumes up to those holes. And it's been running about 15 minutes and it's still struggling a little bit. But in any case, we're going to try this. So I'm going to try a couple of these. I'm going to leave the metal and wick on and try to take them out later. I acquired this little pan from the boss, so we'll start heating this up. I have too many animals in this house, so there's some hair in there already. But we're going to start heating that up and see what happens. So it's been about 5 minutes, and the first two are about dissolved, and I added a third one. I picked out the wicks and the little metal parts, and the third one I just plucked them off before I put it in, and that was a little bit easier. But I think 3 will be enough for a handful of these, and I can always melt some more if I see the need. I think the actual correct way to do this, if you wanted to get real technical and temper the wax like you would temper chocolate, is get the wax to a certain degree, and you have to have like a little thermometer to do that, and then put another chunk once you get to that temperature. I think it's called it would be like a seed piece, to kind of cool it down. And to temper it, that would just make it so it wouldn't melt as easy, like if it's just sitting in your bag in a hot room or something, or a hot vehicle. I'm not going to worry about that because these are going to be in like a Ziploc bag or something. So, but we're getting there. Just bear with me for another second. And we are melted. So I'm going to try a couple of these first. I think the surface area is going to help out a little bit. So I'm going to try to keep them as round or as intact as I can. Probably should have something better to dip this in. Okay. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Well, that one's going to be a really thick one, so let's see. Let's try to do better on this one. And this wax is pretty hot, so if you had tongs, that'd probably be ideal. Try to do this one really light. Let it cool off a second. So that one actually isn't waxed all the way around, so that might light really easy, so that'd be kind of cool. And I guess this one I'll let dry for a second, and then I'm gonna double do this one to see how that works, and we'll test all these out either today or whenever I get out to the field. You know, we're still in this quarantine, and I've done a little bit of checking. There's one place I still got to call to see if I can still camp outdoors, but it's not looking good. It's like a $3,500 fine if you do an overnight there. So we'll soak that up, flip it over, we'll throw it on here. And this is soaking up quite a bit of the wax. So that was 3 of those votives like that. And it's looking like it's gonna cover just about right. 4 normal cotton balls and then 4 cotton rounds. I do want to try to double dip one of those small ones. This one. I'm gonna let them cool off for just a second longer. So I think it's a good idea to have, you know, put them on either a cookie tray or tin foil so they can dry, and then you can kind of peel them off a little easier. But these are not drying super quick. I remember them drying a little faster than that. And I don't think there's going to be enough wax in there for that double dip of the other one, so I'm going to go ahead and start another batch of wax. I think I'm only going to do 1 or maybe 2 votives. If I make some extra, you know, that's just more for my bug out bag. So that one's pretty much melted. I'm going to make a couple more of these rounds because I have a whole sleeve of these and I didn't bring enough cotton balls down. These are actually drying a lot slower than I remember. The rounds are pretty much dry, but the cotton balls kind of just seem to soak it up and it's just retaining the liquid wax. So that's kind of strange from what I remember. Especially it's only about 60 degrees in where I'm at in here. So that's a little weird, but let's start soaking these things. And I probably only have $2 to $3 in all the materials, so it's really cheap. And I guess I went through all the votives, and those were probably about $1. And then I think these cotton balls were around $1, and I got plenty of those left. But if you use like one of these prayer candles, that's $1, and that'll probably get you through a lot more than those votives. It's just a little easier to throw the votives in there. You'd have to probably more or less chop up that prayer candle and try to fish it out of there. You could put that glass over some heat to kind of get the edges warm, I would imagine, and then kind of just dump it out, or it should slide out, but I'm not sure. Let's do 1 more of these rounds. And I'll do the driest one of the cotton balls. Let's see. Yeah, that one's halfway dry. It's just really strange how that's retaining that. I didn't expect it to do that at all. Got a little bit more to soak up. Sounds good. I'm gonna take one of these dry ones and just do a little bit of a double dip. And then that's the basics of it. Pretty simple. And we'll test a couple of these out to see how they do. So this is one of the single dipped rounds. I'm gonna break it up. Actually, I'm gonna break it in half. I'm gonna do one side with a ferro rod, one side with a lighter. We'll see how long we can get it to last. and how easy it is to actually start. So I'll fluff that up a little bit more. So obviously the cotton ball and Vaseline is even simpler, and it does work and it's effective, but so it took one spark. I completely missed the first time. So I'm gonna call that 5 minutes. Right at 5 minutes, it kind of smoldered out, and honestly, it still has a tiny, tiny flame, and it, it's still smoldering a little bit. So you could still start a fire off that if you really wanted to. So 5 minutes, that's pretty good, and that was just half. So you have 2 uses, or one probably slightly longer one. It probably wouldn't last the full 10 minutes, but that's pretty good. And this is in perfect conditions. This is inside my garage, but I'm pretty impressed with that. So that was pretty good. Let's try one of these single dipped rounds, and I'll do the same thing on that one. So let me clear this out of the way. Yeah, it's still got some tiny little embers, almost like char cloth. Make sure that's all the way. Okay. I'm not gonna set my house on fire. And this still has liquid wax in it. That is so weird. I guess it's just soaked through, and I guess if you had a little bit longer of a dry time, it'd be better, but it's exposed some of those fibers. And this is gonna be a full cotton ball, so we'll see how long this lasts. And actually we'll split it in half. Okay. We'll call that half. It's very scientific, if you can't tell. Okay. Try the ferro rod. So 1 spark. And I'll go ahead and time this one again. So we are at 8 minutes, and it is just now smoldering out. It still has a little tiny bit of a flame, and then once again, you could probably start something really dry. Some really dry tinder off the coal bed in there. And just flipping it around, the bottom is untouched, so you could go even longer than that. So 8 minutes on the cotton ball round. That's better than I thought it was gonna do. I thought that was gonna do a little worse than the other one. So here is the double dipped cotton round. We expose some of the areas here. See, that's the problem I had with my other one. It doesn't want to tear apart. It's just really embedded in there, so it's hard to get more surface area. If you worked at it, I'm sure you could. Let's try this, see what happens. Okay, so 2 strikes on that one. And we'll start our timer. And we'll see how long this one goes. So I'm gonna test out my old one to see if I can actually get it to light. It looks like it's dried out a little bit more, because these are about 7 to 8 months old. And then at the end, I'm gonna try the tried and true, just Vaseline. This one just Vaseline. This is a round, like one of these, one of the flat ones. But we'll see how long that one lasts. So we'll check in after this one starts burning out. So this one just is smoldering out, and we got 850 on this one. 850. So that's a really long time. That's really impressive. Actually, I just tried to flip it over, and it started going again. So we'll just call that 850 though. So now we're gonna try my old one. Once again, this is a cotton round, rubbed in Vaseline, and then dipped at least twice in wax. Like I said, this one is scented scented wax. I don't know if that makes too big of a difference, but so that did take 1 spark. But I do remember I tried this outside in a grill, and I think it blows out. We're at the 5-minute mark now on the double dick. Double dicked. Okay. So we just went out, and it's been 9:15. And last, we have just the cotton ball in Vaseline, or this is a cotton round in Vaseline. Everything I've done, once again, has only been half of either a round or half of the cotton ball. Let me expose some of these fibers a little bit. And I have been trying to keep it as consistent as I can. I'm trying to keep it kind of packed a little together, too spread out, and it will probably burn a little quicker. And we'll see how this one goes. So, one. And that one just is smoldering out now. Has, once again, a tiny little bit of flame, but that is 4:30, so 4 minutes 30 seconds. So this one is the shortest burning one, but it's also the easiest one to make. You don't have to, go and buy wax or anything. So it's still a really good option. So it's pretty cool to test out the different variations of simple homemade fire starters. The least performing or worst performing one was just the Vaseline and cotton round. But that's also the easiest one to make, and it still lasted for about 4.5 minutes. So that's pretty good. You should be able to get a fire started with that. The best one was the double dipped in wax, first coated in Vaseline round, and that was 9:15 or so. So that was pretty good, but that was a little bit more. That's the most effort out of all of them. And the other one's just dipped in wax, still pretty easy. All this stuff is stuff that everybody has at home, especially I feel like everybody has at least the cotton balls. The rounds are probably a little bit more packable. All of the ones I used were ripped in half, so if they're whole, they'll last even longer. Or you could even cut them into fourths or something and make them last a little bit longer. If you're just going on a camping trip, you could throw a whole one on and be fine. But if you're really trying to conserve your kit, you definitely want to break it up as small as you possibly can and still get that fire going and not waste one. So that was pretty fun. I've never really timed how long multiple ones last. Like I said, these are really packable. This is 2 of them, and you could throw them in a Ziploc bag easy. I like keeping them in Ziploc bags because I don't want wax all over my stuff. And now that my whole table and hands are full of wax and crap, I guess I'll wrap up this video. Thanks everybody for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you think I could do anything better or anything I could add, any type of accelerant that could go, first and then add the wax, let me know. I don't think any accelerant would last long enough to warrant that. But if you have any good ideas, I'm definitely open to suggestions. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I finally hit 1,000 subscribers again, so thanks everybody for the support, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.